mean, Earth being a simulation, मतलब कि future already decided है कि
Is so nervous and I was so petrified of going in and looking like that.
क्या हमारे dreams हमें कुछ बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं? Is there like a message hidden in there which we just overlook and see कि यार, okay, it was just a random dream.
Okay, it has all the information about our soul from the past, from the present, and the future possible.
Hello and welcome back to Sooth Sisters. I'm your co-host Nanki.
And I'm Nemut. And together we are the Sood Sisters.
In today's episode, we are going to unpack so many things that is going to make you question the nature of reality.
And probably also give you so many answers. And this episode is super special for us, just like every other episode. But this one, we are going to be interviewing a sister duo. Imagine a spiritual sister duo, just like the two of us.
Absolutely. But before we jump into today's episode, it would mean the world to us if you could just subscribe to the channel so that we can keep bringing such interesting guests and such interesting conversation for you guys.
Today we have with us Ashmita and Tavleen Kaur. They are spiritual coaches who also specialize in Akashic records and dream decoding.
Welcome to Sooth Sisters, Ashmita and Tavleen. We are beyond excited to have you guys here. If someone could come in the studio right now, the energy is so high, like my body is vibrating. Like the energy is super high.
We've been bouncing up and down since morning to get this
Absolutely.
episode started.
Absolutely. And the excitement is so much that a sister duo, interviewing a sister duo, like this is like four spiritual girlies just sitting down, having a chit chat. It's going to be an awesome episode. I just cannot wait to begin.
Absolutely. We're really excited as well. And I mean, the moment you said it, even I started feeling the vibration of it all because it's just like coming together. It's such a beautiful thing.
Awesome. So, we would like to start from the very beginning of your journey. How did you guys get into this work? Or what were the events that conspired for you guys to come together and start the work that you do?
Okay, well, my spiritual journey started when I feel around 21, 22 years old, when everything was, for me, was like falling to the ground. I was having the dark night of my soul. Nothing was working out in my life. And the only option at that point I could see was to, find something to help me. I was ready for just about anything. I was listening to my best friend at that point had recommended Wayne Dyer. So I would just keep listening to him all the time. And he'd say that if someone meets me, yeah, he says that if someone tells me to sit on a crystal chair and it'll make me feel better, I would do that. So at that point, I was that person who was just ready to be healed, to find light in my life. And so I started seeking and finding for it everywhere and searching for meditation classes wherever I could go. And that's how my journey started from that point onwards. When I opened that door of finding help and finding support, a lot of help and support poured in. And I met my first spiritual mentor who helped me through this journey, navigating, helping me understand what was going on around me, what was really happening, and why I was feeling this existential crisis that what is life? Why am I here? What's the reason for this suffering in my life? And slowly I was able to piece together a lot of answers. It was quite slow. It was years that took me to really understand what was really going on in my life. But slowly I started to find people who would tell me that, you're here to help the masses in their awakening, you're here to support them in raising of their consciousness. And I started to believe them one step at a time.
I even recently documented this. Like, I came home and I'm like, nothing is working. I'm terribly stuck. I don't know what to do and stuff. And then she knew, all right, this is the point. I need to get in. And so she's like, okay, come upstairs, let's talk. So we sit in her room. So she had this room with beautiful dream catchers and like a Yeti mic on the table, and she would do her meditation recordings and everything. And to me, that was too woo woo to even make sense of. I was like, I really hope none of my people actually go into that room because I don't know what this is all about. Like, it was a different world within our perfectly constructed, logical heavy world. So I get in, and then she sits me down and she starts drawing these human figures, and she's like, okay, this is what trapped emotions look like, this is your pain body, and these are all your familiar emotions. So, and but I think I was more of that Robin Sharma kind of a person, looking for motivation and all of those things and trying to motivate myself out of life, but none of the knowledge that I already had was actually working. Little did I realize that I needed wisdom, which is more of integrated knowledge than motivation. So then she started to walk me through the Wayne Dyer concepts, the Eckhart Tolle concepts that she knew very well about, and it was like at the back of her hand. And then it started to click for me as well, and I was like, okay, maybe she knows something here that I don't, and even though she's 7 years younger, I should actually be open to receiving from her. So that for me was a click, and then I just got pulled in myself. And I think it's almost like diving into an ocean, and then you just, where once you're in the ocean, you don't want to come out. It was more like that.
Absolutely. It's crazy that you mentioned the COVID time. No, I mean, that time was pretty horrible, but I think that time forced all of us to slow down. And I think a lot of people started their awakening journey during that time. Like, we've had multiple people telling us that, when life slowed down and they had the time to connect with themselves and, think about and connect to the spirit, a lot of people underwent their awakening during that time.
Yes, there was something special about it. I think it was, yeah, Shmita can add, but I really feel it was like a mass awakening project that happened because never before had we sat down with ourselves. Never before had we had a chance to even know that we were feeling something that was out of the ordinary because we were so busy distracting ourselves and going about our lives that we literally never had that time. So I know people who went and married, came out divorced, who went and divorced, came out, again married. So stuff like that, like, a lot of reconciliations, a lot of separation, a lot of things happened, like absolutely life changing events, which I don't know what was the other way for them to actually happen. But they were all for the higher good. Like that definitely became visible. Now that we look back, we know that it was all for the higher good.
So true. Thank you for putting that out. And I also love the parallel where you drew this parallel about, waiting. You had to let go of that feeling that you're the elder one and you have to listen to a younger one. I think that is probably a part of us as humans कि हमारे में शुरू से ही ingrained है जो बड़ा होएगा वही सही होएगा छोटे वाले के पास कुछ नहीं होएगा. So thank you for putting that out. That's
Right.
an interesting concept that we all have that wisdom inside of us regardless of age.
Absolutely, yes. Because who knows who's worked in the past life and who's done all the work, and right at 20, they're ready to like shine, and they have all of it available at access. So that was quite revealing in itself to me.
So, we have so much to dissect today. We have so much to learn and understand from you guys today. So let's just dive deep in. So, Ashmita, I have a question for you. We have heard that there is something called a library somewhere existing in the universe, or I don't know what, that holds our past, present, future, past lives, records, or I don't know what. So, hang on, like, explain, as if you're explaining to a 5 years old, what are Akashic records?
So the Akashic Records, like you rightly said, is like a library. Okay, it has all the information about our soul from the past, from the present, and the future possibilities. Future is in possibilities, which means that based on the choices that we make today, the future can shift, the future can change. So it's like entering a huge library, and the moment you enter, you look at all these books, and these books are containing information about who you were in your past life, where you've come from, what your origin has been. So imagine a book that has the title The Origin of Your Soul, or the title, let's say, 1857, which was the last life you were born into, and what were the themes, the core themes of that lifetime. For example, it could be war, it could be some amount of obedience that you had towards a particular king or a particular authority figure. It could be a lifetime which was about survival, about courage and bravery. So these are the different themes that you chose in that particular lifetime. And imagine the themes as the titles of each chapter. And you can read the chapter and you understand what all you went through in that lifetime and what did it teach you in this particular lifetime. So This is a huge, wide library with all the information that is available about our soul. So when we enter it, we're able to navigate through this library and pick out the books that actually matter in today, in our lives right now, the patterns that are still active, that haven't completed themselves, that are still playing a role in our lives. We're able to specifically access those patterns and work on healing them. So the Akashic records, the way it works is that we're able to see the journey of the soul. For example, if they come with, let's say that they're in an abusive marriage. So we're able to see, like, for how many lifetimes this is carried on. What different roles did you play? Were you the abuser as well in one of your lifetimes? Were you the victim for many lifetimes? Why weren't you able to leave? What kept you stuck in that particular space, and why are you still stuck? So often, when I'm able to see, it feels like there are parallel lives, which means that similar emotions, the similar kind of feelings, the same energy, but just different characters, just different costumes, even of people around you, which means their names change, their bodies change, their locations change. But at the soul level, they remain the same and they're still around you playing the same roles because you've not transcended that level. You've not learned the lesson in that level. So the lesson repeats. So when we enter that space, we're able to understand the lesson, integrate it, and finally transcend it to be able to take a different action, a different route altogether. And based on that, the destiny change. So that's essentially the role of the Akashic records that we work around. And the core reason for doing this is soul evolution and expansion, and to, of course, stop the repeated loops.
Wow, this is such a powerful tool. मतलब कि आप अपने library में जाओ and look at your old patterns and you can probably fix those patterns in this lifetime. I mean, mind blown.
And also probably accept them if you're not able to fix them, right?
Yeah.
That was so intriguing. Another thing that comes to mind is, Ashmita, can anyone access, is this like free knowledge which is out there, चाहे वो कोई भी age का बंदा होए or anybody, can anyone access it, or do you need to have like a special gift to really read these books?
I feel a lot of us can access it. It totally depends on how open are we to intuition, to intuitive insights. If we are stuck in our minds, if we are all about logic, and if we find it hard to take that leap of faith, then of course that access may be available, but we may not be able to hold the key to access it. So the key to access those memories or those patterns and the origin of them is our intuition, is the ability to trust and have faith that there is knowledge available for us. Are we ready to accept it? Are we ready to open up to it?
Wow, so intriguing. So as you said that there are future possibilities recorded as well. तो मतलब कि future already decided है कि can it change कि वो सिर्फ एक possibility है? How does that work?
Yeah, the future can definitely change. Imagine like you're, walking on a path and आगे दो रास्ते हैं. ठीक है, सो डिपेंड ऑन द चॉइस आप उस टाइम पे लोगे, वो रास्ते, एक रास्ता खुल जाएगा, एक रास्ता बंद हो जाएगा. लाइक दैट वी हैव लाइक मल्टीपल रियलिटीज अवेलेबल टू अस. It's based on what we choose in that particular moment, the path changes. Either we will, if we continue to choose the same old pattern, so we will move on the timeline जो पहले जैसी थी और उसमें ज़्यादा चेंजेस नहीं होंगे, हम वहीं पे रहेंगे. अगर हम उस मोमेंट पे एक डिफरेंट चॉइस लेते हैं एंड उस पाथ पे वर्क करते हैं, तो एक न्यू पाथवे खुल जाएगा जो कि पॉसिबली ज़्यादा एक्सपेंडेड होगा और उसमें ज़्यादा ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस होंगे फॉर आवर सोल्स टू हैव. So it totally depends. Like multiple realities are existing at the same time. Based on our choice, we could change our destiny.
Okay. That's taking a minute for me to process. That's so intriguing. So कहने का मतलब है कि जो रास्ते हैं वो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट कर रहे हैं, ये हमारे ऊपर है कि हम कौन सा रास्ता ले रहे हैं, राइट? सो डज दैट आल्सो ब्रिंग्स मी टू दिस पॉइंट. तो यहाँ पे फ्री विल का क्या पॉइंट हुआ कि सिर्फ हम रास्ता चूज करने के लिए हमारी फ्री विल एग्जिस्ट करती है, और इज लाइक फ्री विल अ स्कैम दैट हैज बीन गोइंग अराउंड? इफ वी कांट रियली क्रिएट व्हाट वी वांट, we just have to take the predestined paths. Where does free will play its role here?
Exactly here, जैसे कि आप चूज कर सकते हो based on the choice. For example, if I am repeating a certain pattern in my life. Let's say there's a toxic boyfriend that I have and he's not treating me well. But मुझे याद है कि वो एक बारी जब उसने मुझे अच्छे से treat किया, and I keep going into that space, that place where, he was good to me, he was nice to me. So, and I'm still sticking into that timeline, right? So a part of me would continue on that path and continue to stay stuck. I have another option, which is I go within. The moment I go within, a door opens. Because वहाँ से intuition आएगी, वो intuition बोलेगी कि okay, go to this place or watch this video or read this book or maybe, get a session with this person or meet this person. So the moment I've gone within, एक pathway open हो गया, and I can go to that person and possibly I can make a different choice. That finally बहुत delays के बाद I am ready to make that choice to bring an end to this pattern. So that's where whatever was predestined starts changing. For example, मैंने as a soul choose किया था कि मैं ये toxic relationship experience करूँगी, right? So I had taken in that, I had chosen that as my challenge, as my theme or one of the themes of this lifetime. So मैंने choose करके imagine करो अपने आप एक shopping जगह पे गए हो, grocery cart है आपके पास and you choose a particular packet. So आपने ये toxic relationship का packet लिया और अपनी cart में डाला. And now this is what you're experiencing in this lifetime. But let's say आपने now you went within, you understood कि बस हो गया यार और कितना I'll go through this suffering. And आपके पास एक insight आई to visit a particular friend. So when you went to visit that friend, she said that, I've been through this as well. And I don't think this is right. This is taking a lot from you. Why don't you get some more help, some more support? Because staying here is not an option anymore. So the moment that is presented to me, I can make a different choice and I can learn and complete that lesson with this person. Because ultimately we choose the challenges to evolve as a soul. So evolution जैसे ही complete होता है, destiny change होती है, and people who say that जिस ये कोई प्रारब्ध कर्मा होगा, मतलब ये हमें सफर करना ही पड़ेगा इसकी वजह से. I mean, I find that complete BS. Okay, fine. There is a karma that is ongoing, which means that ये karma है कि मुझे toxic relationship experience करना है. इस बंदे के साथ एक contract है मेरा. But how I respond to it is my choice. How I respond to that same toxic situation, if I respond with even certain level of awareness and consciousness, so it can shift and change. उसका reason ही नहीं है ना. For example, मैंने 10th grade pass कर लिया एंड मतलब मुझे सारी चीज़ें समझ आ गई 10th ग्रेड की, तो मैं बार बार थोड़ी 10th ग्रेड रिपीट करूँगी. आई कैन मूव ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ माई लाइफ. And that is exactly where the free will comes in. Free will activates once we go within. Unless until we haven't gone within, we go on the predestined path. We keep on, continuing on that path.
So yeah, basically just to conclude, basically by asking a question, you activate your free will. By accessing the information that's been provided to you, by entering a bookstore and saying that, I'm seeking an answer to this and help me get it. And you reach out to a book and you open a page and that answer would be there. This is not a made up story. This actually happens. Sometimes you put a song and a song plays on FM and turns out it is an answer to something that you've been looking for. In a movie there's a story, the way it kind of goes, the arc, the hero's journey, that turns out to be something that truly resonates with you, and it just kind of gives you an epiphany that, oh, all right, this is what I could do. So all of this looks very like, these are coincidences or something, but they're actually not. There are less random as they seem to be. And they have been put out there on your path so that you can keep choosing. So the more you keep advancing on that path and keep sort of raising your hand and saying, yes, I want more of this, yes, this is making sense, and so through taking micro actions, you keep affirming to the universe or the source, whatever you want to call it, that you are willing to walk on that path, and then that is how your ascension keeps happening. But if you just shut yourself down and say, all right, I know there's a friend who can actually help me out with this, but guess what, I am not going to go to her, then you're closing the door, right? I know that I can pick up the book and read, and I know that there'll be a solution to this problem because I'm being pointed towards that book. But no, I'm not going to read because I don't have the time, or I don't believe in all of this. Then you are being too closed off, and then it's very hard for you to kind of move forward. So that is where you get to access your free will.
Okay, first of all, Ashmita, thank you for calling out that BS कि जो हमारे साथ होना है वो तो होके रहना है. This is such an age-old saying, and it is so fear-based. Thank you for calling that out. And secondly, Nanki, does that go on the mug? That
That definitely goes.
acceptance
That
is equal
definitely
to
goes on
free
the
will
mug.
activation.
We always, in each episode, we pick up some lines, and I think this is the line of the day. This will go on the mug,
Activation will lead you to free will.
100%.
Wow, that was very intriguing.
So, I one question that pops in my mind is, as you said, that free will activates a lot of things. But do you agree that some events in our life are predestined or predetermined, or wo change nahi ho sakte, like birth, marriages, or some other things? I mean, this is something we've heard. Is it true?
Yeah, I mean, completely true. Some of the events, like I said, are predestined. But क्या predestined नहीं है हमारा reaction. So हम कैसे respond करते हैं? For example, if we are born to parents who may not be treating us right, who may not be grateful to have us, they might treat us as a panoti, right? As uh, a source of bad luck. Yeah, a burden. But then how do we respond to that? वो हमारे ऊपर डिपेंड करता है तो काफी सारी चीजें प्रीडेस्टाइंड होती हैं सो कुछ चीजें होंगी आपकी लाइफ में बट उसके रिस्पॉन्स अगर हम डिफरेंट चूज करेंगे तो वो डिफरेंटली प्ले आउट करेगी हमारी लाइफ में वो उतना सफरिंग नहीं लाएगी जितना पॉसिबली एक अनकॉन्शियस इंसान को लाएगी
Wow.
So, Ashmita, I have another question for you. Will it be possible for you to tap into this library, जहाँ पे भी है ये universe में है या somewhere above us, and access something for me and Nemat? I mean, I'm a little nervous, but can we do that?
Or like an intuitive message for us.
okay let's tune in let's see what comes up you've got to give me a few seconds okay Okay, so I have a message for Nanki. Nanki, I feel what's happening, what I'm being shown right now is that you're choosing a particular path in your life. You're choosing that and you're thinking, okay, let me try this, let me try that. So there's a lot of curiosity in that path. I feel like, you're choosing, like, let's say to go left and be like, okay, what if we do this or what if we do that? So there's a lot of curiosity led um activity in your life right now, you're being guided to take a moment to just pause because there is another path emerging that you may not be seeing as of now, which is an alternate path. But as of now, what's going on is that your inner child is making a lot of these curiosity based decisions. So, curiosity is nice, curiosity is amazing, but there is a part of you that is coming up which is very intuitive, which is very calm, very peaceful. And you're being guided to sort of just pause for a moment and see is there a higher path emerging? Because what happens is that oftentimes when we listen to the child within us, yes, it takes us to some interesting places, but there is a higher aspect of you that really wants to go, on a place, on a pathway that is like an accelerated pathway for your ascension, for your journey. And that comes from a place of a lot of calm and peace. So you're being guided to bring in a lot of pause and a sense of calm in your being. And from that way, whatever emerges, that path will lead you to places you may not even have imagined. So it's like मैंने बहुत सारे दरवाजे खटखटा लिए I've gone to various different places out of curiosity, but वो fulfillment नहीं आ रही है. So possibly एक और path है जो आप देख नहीं रहे हो, which exists for you, but you are not really opening up and witnessing it fully. So the moment you pause and reset your energies, it will be very visible to you where the divine is guiding you right now. So a higher path is emerging for you at the soul level, and this comes from a different you, which means it's an aspect of you, but it's a more intuitive, peaceful, almost like an expansive aspect of you who can just sit back and watch where life leads her. So, something for you to ponder upon and something for you to reflect upon for sure.
Wow, this is so amazing.
This gave me
Curiosity kills
this
the
gave
cat.
me
So I need to
uh,
take a chill. I
yeah.
need to take a pause. Wow, it just resonated so much. Like
Yes.
even my entire body was
I got
vibrating.
back goosebumps while you were speaking that, because interestingly we were talking about some of her inner child thing 2 days ago, about some incident that happened in her early, and wow, that you brought it up. That's crazy.
Amazing. So, Nemat, shall I tune in and see what comes up for you?
I would love that.
What I'm receiving for you is that, imagine like you're going to a shop and you're really explaining it to the shopkeeper that I want this, and but this is why I want this. This is, this is going to be good for me. Maybe that's how I want it to be. So it's like you're going to the universe and you're explaining yourself to the universe a lot. Like, I want something, but I want it for this reason. I want it for that reason, and maybe if I can have it this way, it would be good. Or uh I want it because of this reason. So a lot of your desires, you may be inclined to explain them a lot, like why do you want something in your life, what's the reason for it, what's the bigger purpose for it. You might be explaining it to yourself a lot. So the guidance that I'm receiving for you is that, imagine the universe is like a shopkeeper that is standing, who has a lot of products, a lot of experiences for you. All you got to go there and ask, what is it that you want to experience that next? What product you want? What experience do you want? What service do you want? And the universe is just the provider. So a lot of times what keeps happening, what might be happening with you, is that you'll try to explain your desires a lot in a way that you may feel like, maybe I don't deserve it, or I'm not very worthy of it. So I have to either work towards it, work hard towards it, or ask it in this way, or ask it in that way, or explain the whole reason why I want something. So the universe is asking you to drop that. Drop that and simply ask what you desire. You are worthy and deserving of all the good in this universe. You just got to be open to asking it, and you will receive. Ask and you shall receive is the message that I'm receiving from your guys right now. Do not worry about explaining yourself. Just as you are, you're worthy of all the good. And that's what I'm receiving for you.
Wow, that is so beautiful. That is true. I do end up explaining myself a lot. Thanks for bringing that forward. That felt beautiful. Thank you so much, Ashmita, for those readings. Those were so interesting to hear, and I'm sure our audience is going to be so excited to hear all of this.
Tavleen, I have not one but many questions for you. So, what now? You are a dream decoder. I mean, wow, someone can actually decode dreams. So, can you just walk us through, like, what does being a dream decoder mean? And क्या हमारे ड्रीम्स हमें कुछ बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं? Is there like a message hidden in there which we just overlook and see कि यार ओके इट वाज जस्ट अ रैंडम ड्रीम, मुझे एक रैंडम किताब का सपना आया था, मुझे एक रैंडम एनिमल का सपना आया था, लाइक डू ड्रीम्स एक्चुअली कैरी मीनिंग?
Yeah. So see, what you seek is seeking you, which basically means that we're trying to connect with source and the source is trying to connect to us, right? And there is, for us, there's a difference between the sleep state and the wake state. There are a certain number of hours we stay awake and a certain number of hours we sleep. But essentially, when there is a connection trying to be established, then it doesn't matter whether you receive an intuitive pull while you're awake or you receive an information in the dream. It essentially is part of the connection. So it's like when remember the time of dial-up connection when we had to sort of connect to our internet, and basically when you wanted a smooth connection, what do they say? They said, okay, do it at night, because now morning is the time when everybody's trying to connect, especially when our CBSE results came in and everybody was trying to plug in, everybody was trying to connect, right? And the website would crash and we would not be able to make our connection. So the best time was when a lot less people were actually trying to do it. So, in the same way, when you're sleeping, your mind is not as active. It is sleeping, right? So it kind of steps back, and it's not trying to categorize things, put things into boxes, and trying to say, oh, this is good, that is bad. So the judgment of the mind softens, right? And so when that judgment softens, you're more able to receive the information that is out there for you. You're more willing to receive the answers, and that is exactly what happens in a dream state. Which is why, so whether you get the information while awake through a book or while you are sleeping in form of a vivid dream, information is information. That's it, and that the purpose of it is connection.
Wow, that is interesting. And that parallel of the CBSE result and the dial-up connection is like spot on. So when your mind is clutter free and when you're in an easy state, that's when you can connect to the divine better. That's what I could understand from you saying.
Yes, that's right. Because I mean, the whole idea is that your mind needs to step out of its way, like if of your way, because until the mind is active, it's not going to allow your spirit to shine. It's not going to allow you to receive things, right? Like I said, when my sister was trying to give me some information, my mind was like, she's 7 years younger, she doesn't know anything. Who is she to tell you all of this, right? And then there was a point where I was like, no, thank you, mind. I don't think I'm able to. Mind is not able to solve the mind. So I think you need to soften. You need to take a back seat, because there is something else happening here. And that's exactly what happens in the dream state. You basically suspend your logic. It's like going to watch a movie. You know that this person is acting. You know that this is not a real drama. And yet you allow yourself to be immersed in the experience. You are crying with it, you are laughing with it, you are like literally sitting at the edge of your chair and biting your teeth until the climax shows up. So you're completely onto the journey, right? You're with the ups and downs of the hero. And that is how you allow that immersive experience to happen. So you let your mind take a backseat and say, all right, don't try to logically evaluate it. Like recently, this movie Dhurandhar, where people saw, I think in the mirror, they saw that there was a camera and it was shooting the guy who had the gun and stuff, who was shooting when we used to. So people saw it, but they were like, shut up, mind. I don't want to listen. I want to immerse in this experience. I want to see this the way it is and I want to receive from it. So it was just more open. It's like, so Dream is like that. It's like a movie 4D Max.
Wonderful. That is, again, another very good example for more clarity. Also, apart from this, I'm really interested to know, can dream really predict things? You say that they are been giving us messages, but can they predict things? क्या और आपके पास कोई ऐसा example होगा with a client that you worked on, or maybe a personal experience to explain this if a dream has been a prediction for you?
See, not in the way we think. Yes, there are people who have predicted things in dream, like Edgar Casey. He literally predicted the entire world history in his dream state. So he had an assistant sitting with him who would engage and ask him questions. And in his dream state, he would just be answering all of that. And they were not about his personal life. They were about his clients that he was working with. They were about what's happening in the world, how the world events are shaping up, and things like that. And when he would wake up, he wouldn't remember anything. So he was known as the sleeping prophet, which meant that he predicted things in dreams, right? So it's all about plunging into the ocean. It's all about like going beyond the fishnet of the mind and allowing yourself to dive into the ocean. How much are you willing to receive? How much are you willing to let go of the grip of the mind on you? And the more a person is able to do it, the deeper they're able to go, and the more the universe reveals its mysteries to you, right? So that is possible. But having said that, what I have been able to notice is that dreams are really great with telling you about your own patterns, right? Like so I had this dream where I saw that a bird had laid an egg and then it had flown out. And on its way back, it saw the human touching and playing with the egg. And the moment it saw that, it didn't want to it didn't want it to hibernate anymore. It didn't want to sit on top of it and give it the warmth. It just abandoned it point blank. That's it. I don't need you anymore. And it went back, flew right back. And I kept wondering, why did I see this dream? What was this all about? Was it trying to tell me something? Was there a message there? And turns out that when I sat with it, basically it was the bird was me and the egg was an idea. So every time there was a new idea, I would go and share it with everybody. My mind would get the dopamine hit that it needed, it was supposed to get after the completion of the idea, after the execution of it. But it got it much earlier, right at the inception of it. So the whole message was that you do not have to share it with people until it's fully baked for the world. Like you do cake. So until it's fully baked, do not share it with the world. Keep it with yourself. Give it the warmth that it needs. Give it the protection that it needs. And it was such an amazing message because I really needed it because I was abandoning a lot of things, telling people and then like not working on them anymore. And it just brought out this pattern. So in a way, did it predict the future for me? It predicted the future. If I had continued to be on that self-abandonment trajectory, it did tell me it's not going to serve you, Tavleen. You got to wake up, right? So dreams in a way do wake us up and kind of pull us out and say that you're on the wrong path right now.
So, for anyone who's listening out there, what is that one simple tip or maybe a trick that you can suggest कि यार हमें इतने सपने आते हैं, right? And as you said, that is probably a subconscious trying to reach out to us कि यार wake up, hear me out. What is that one tip that you can give out that helps us connect or starts help us decoding the dreams?
So I think firstly, it's a door to the subconscious is open when you're dreaming, right? And you are receiving from it. If you're going to ignore it, walk past it, it will stop speaking to you. It's the same way as our intuition works. When you don't use it, you lose it, right? So it's a skill of being able to see dreams and being able to identify your own patterns. So see it like that. It is not woo woo. It's not, it's not whatever, like jadoo tone or whatever. Like it's not something that's coming from like a different world. Like it is a subconscious. It is your subconscious trying to connect with you, trying to speak to you. And it has its ways when you get in, when you actually start saying, all right, I had this dream and I'm willing to sit with it and understand what was it trying to tell me. You would be blown away by the accuracy of the information that you receive, by the depth of the insights you get. Like I had this crazy dream where I saw a friend of mine who was working on a laptop with another friend who I in my head associate with tech. Now I just knew, okay, there's this tech guy that I know of, and there's another friend of mine that I know of, and they were building something. And I said, hey, what are you guys building? And they're like, we found our Norway and we're building something amazing. And I could see them smiling and beaming with joy. And I was like, okay, all right, what is it about? And I was just trying to understand that we found our Norway. And I was like, I don't know, what does that mean? And I woke up and I tried to sit with it. And I'm like, what do they mean? Because see, in a dream, the emotion that you feel while you're in that state is what really matters, because that'll linger on. Like there are dreams that can be easily forgotten. They will not linger on. You will not even think about them. Fine. It was a release. Maybe fear was being released. Maybe some anger was being released. Maybe some pelted up emotion was being released, and it happened, and it's gone now, done and dusted. But there are some dreams that will stay with you. So this stayed with me for 1, 2, 3 days, and I was like, all right, there is something here. And turns out when I sat with it, the message was that, Tavleen, do not chase the outcome. Do not chase the final thing. Enjoy the process. There was like, he was beaming with joy, and I could that energy was so infectious that I was absolutely like, floored, like mind blown with that energy. And I was like, oh God, yes. So that means I just need to enjoy the process, like the joy of building something. It could like in tech, using technology in the right way, just enjoy that. And like when I received it, I just knew. And when they said we found our Norway, it basically meant like we found this really clean place, like this really clean niche, or this which is not highly competitive, where we belong, where we truly belong. So I mean, these are like archetypal messages. These are symbols, names of places which may not even exist, but which may exist, but may have a different symbol within the context. So when you kind of start reading the symbols within the context, you realize that what world is this? Where was I living all this while?
That was so interesting and so profound. Especially what made my ears stand up was the point where you said, some dreams are just you're going to forget, and some are going to stick with you for a long time. And circling back to that thought, we've talked about this a lot on our podcast episodes about how in my early childhood and my early teenage years, my constant dream, which different settings, but it was a very recurrent theme that I would always be flying in my dreams in my human form. So, having a conversation with my mom at that point, I'd be like, Mom, I think I was a bird in my previous life. And my mom would just laugh it off. Later on, after reading certain, metaphysical material, or you could say, life after death material, I got to know that this could be an astral projection. What's your take on this to have a repetitive flying dream for a prolonged number of years?
Yeah, so it could be like, even I've had a similar dream, and for me it meant you're being trained for something, and getting comfortable with the idea of taking a flight, like, and that too, it was not a plane. It's like you are flying as a human body. You suddenly have the capabilities of flying. So just this idea of being open to having capabilities which the normal person does not understand, which for an average person is like, are you stupid? Like, what are you talking about? Get comfortable with the idea of having those abilities. Like, you could call them superhuman abilities, or you could call them intuitive abilities. To being able to sense people's energies, being able to read, Akashic records for people. So all of these are abilities which are beyond the ordinary for an average person who is discarding them. So if you get comfortable with the idea of being like in a group of people and then taking off, like your wings suddenly opening up and taking off, if your brain can sort of make sense of that, can just sort of step back and say, this is uncomfortable, but all right, maybe it's not my trajectory, maybe it's not my my area to operate in, so I just let you be. And if you can just let the brain relax. So that's what the dream is doing over and over. It's trying to make you comfortable with this idea that you can have extraordinary abilities, which people call superhuman, but they are pretty human, as we now know. But yes, if you can get comfortable with this idea, then we're going to give you more of it. Then you're going to being able to open more of your gifts.
That is wonderful. I think I finally have answers after all these years, and I can officially say my dreams are Dream Decoder certified. Thank you so much, Tableen, for bringing that out. Wonderful.
Okay, circling back to you, Ashmita, when we were researching your work for this episode, we saw a lot of your videos where you talk about Earth being a simulation. First of all, mind blows. I mean, Earth being a simulation.